It's a show with a very contentious topic selection.
Yeah.
A lot of disagreements. Very early, usually started at 10 a.m., started at 9:55. That's how you really do it. You snipe the producer, like, hey, before the meeting starts. We start with a poet from 200 years ago. Edgar Allan Poe's most famous poem is The Raven. Sorry to demean Edgar Allan Poe. It's the only poem anyone knows by him. I know a handful of poems. Davante Adams looking for a new team. So what did Davante put on his Instagram this afternoon? A picture of Edgar Allan Poe. And then, oddly, he posted a quote that said, "Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see." So that threw a curveball at us.
Which he attributed to.
He attributes to Edgar Allan Poe, but like most old-timey quotes, probably not said by Edgar Allan Poe. Here's the other thing. If Edgar Allan Poe didn't put it into a poem, he's not leaving bangers just for the audio. You know what I mean? He would put it in the poem. Nevertheless,
Brew's got 1 foot on the desk.
We're halfway there. We're halfway there. What else
Halfway
could that
to
mean?
where? Halfway to where?
Davante going to Baltimore.
But I thought you thought that was a bad idea.
What did he say? Believe none of what you read?
well, no, you can't believe anything you hear.
that
So
you're
not-
going to the Jets or you're going to the Saints.
And half
That's
of
where
what
we're
you
going to.
see.
Yeah, right, half, I don't know what
But
we
I
see.
thought you didn't think this was a good idea.
I changed my mind.
Okay.
New
I
info.
mean, look.
What's the new
I
info?
would not tell
Let go.
Shaq. I would not tell Shaq at a 3-point shot, Shaq. But if Shaq did, I'd be like, you know what? Every once in a while, it'd be nice to have in your arsenal.
I like it.
As long as you keep the bread and butter down low, dunking on people, I don't mind if you go out and hit a 3 to keep them honest every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's what the Ravens could do. Davante, look, you know, like he said, like John Harbaugh said about Derrick Henry, we didn't bring him here to run 30 times a game, but now you actually did. We're not bringing, if they do, Davante to Baltimore to catch 10 passes a game. But to keep the defense honest, as long as they don't lose their identity, you're still Derrick Henry left, Derrick Henry right, Lamar doing his thing off of that. But you got to throw the ball sometimes. And Nick, Lamar has never had a great receiver.
This would be his best receiver he's ever had in his life.
Absolutely. We saw what Stephon Diggs did for Josh Allen. We saw what DeAndre Hopkins did a few years ago for Kyler Murray. Most people, other than Patrick Mahomes, need a great receiver.
Well, Travis Kelce's the best tight end of all time.
Yeah, true. So now, if they get Davante Adams, as long as they don't lose their identity, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
A few months ago, we did a show where in the A block we led with Brandon Ayuk going to the Steelers, which was unfortunate because he didn't end up going.
We did a lot of it.
We did a lot, and we treated it as if it had happened. It was, you know, such happens. I think these last 5 minutes are maybe in that same bucket, where you guys, I think, are totally disregarding what was the match on the tinderbox that got the Davante Adams getting out of Las Vegas story, that fire roaring. What was it?
Rodgers at the golf tournament?
No. It was simmering. It was his head coach futzing around on Instagram, and it blew up, and then he demanded a trade. Everyone knows the Raiders are not even actually going to engage fully on trades until he's healthy. Everyone knows you don't make a big trade on a Friday before games. Everyone knows nothing is happening this week. And Davante Adams is, I think, screwing with the media and maybe Antonio Pierce and the Raiders a little bit as some get back.
But is he screwing with Lamar and Derrick? You know what I mean? Like, why would he do that?
I don't know if he's going to play for the Jets or one of their competitors. This idea that Davante owes something to Lamar and
he
Baltimore.
doesn't. But why troll the Ravens?
Because
why not troll the Chiefs
because it got
or
you
some other team?
Well, I don't
the Bills.
think so I guess my point is I don't think he was. You're right that why do that than the other. But if he's just trolling, which I think he is, you got to pick a team. The Edgar Allan Poe thing is just enough deniability because it's not even a football helmet. It's just a famous poet. And hey, here's the quote. But one of the reasons Lamar has not ever had a great receiver is no great receivers ever wanted to go there.
That's true.
And I don't think all of a sudden now, when they are seemingly more dedicated to the run than they had been in years past, that Davante Adams, who, if you remember last year, after a Raiders win, was furious because he's like, I'm awesome. I'm not getting a chance to show you how awesome I am. And I know that he has a quote from over the summer where he's like, yeah, you know, if he could win a Super Bowl, I'd take 800 yards in Baltimore. He did say that. I just think this is internet tomfoolery that is being treated way more seriously by you than I think it should.
You know what, Wiles?
What?
Somebody's worried. Somebody's worried.
Can I tell you something? I would, as a Chiefs fan, if you're telling me he's either going to the Bills or the Ravens, I would so much rather he go to the Ravens. Like
That's fine.
But
yeah. So do you think it makes the Ravens better?
I think it makes the Ravens marginally better. Ooh. I don't think.
They might only need
and
to
I
be
think that. Well, I think the Ravens, if they are going to overcome some significant disadvantages they have against the Chiefs, the whole we're going to be the most run-oriented team in modern NFL history is a better route than we're adding a wide receiver and we're going to diversify the offense again.
Well, you got to throw some. I agree. I don't want them to go away from the run. Yeah. But you're going to throw the football. I mean, it's the NFL.
Is that likely? Boom. If that was Davante Adams, get my foot in.
That's right.
Okay.
I like it.
All of a sudden, 3-1. Chiefs.
Let's get it done, Ravens.
Ravens bring their running attack into Cincinnati, are favored by almost a field goal. Here's Jamar Chase on Lamar and Derrick Henry's running attack. I really like Jamar Chase's locker room interviews. Yeah. NFL ranks this season. Baltimore is very good at rushing the ball. Cincinnati's defense is not good at stopping it. They score a lot. Cincinnati gives up a lot, and Baltimore holds on to the ball. It's how they usually beat the Bengals, and Cincinnati does not. Do you trust Lamar or Joe Burrow more in this game?
Lamar, because he's going to win. I trust Lamar more. And he's going to win because that's what he does when they play the Bengals, particularly Joe Burrow. Here their head-to-head matchups. Lamar's won 4 out of the 5 games. They score more. He totals more yards, passing and running. Better touchdown to interception ratio or turnover ratio. Better passer rating. And, Nick, we all know, we just saw it, the Bengals' defense is bad. All right, 27th in the league in points allowed. This is the worst Bengals defense that Lamar will have faced since his rookie year. He beat him his rookie year, too. But this is the worst defense since then, 2018. So I think he's going to do his thing and have a field day. Look, I think Joe Burrow.
Do you think Lamar's going to have a field day or the Ravens' running game's going to have a field day?
I think the Ravens' run game. But I think Burrow will have more yards passing.
Well, yeah.
Because he's obviously a better passer and he's got better receivers, and they're not going to be able to run the ball. But Lamar, Henry, I think they'll run. I think Lamar will do damage with his legs, and he'll be more efficient through the air. He'll make some big throws. I'm not talking about long fly patterns, but I'm talking he'll make some big throws at timely throws, and they will win because here's the other thing, and this is both of them against winning teams. Joe Burrow, Lamar's been much better against winning teams. It's not unusual to have a losing record, even for top quarterbacks against winning teams. Look at Lamar's record. 24-16 against teams above 500. Yeah. Way better than Burrow's. His numbers overall better than Burrow's against the better teams.
Oddly, so I think Bengals are not in that category.
Yeah, but we think they're a good team. But yeah.
So it feels to me, and I'm not trying to be difficult, like your setup for this and your answer was as if the question is, which team do you trust more?
Well, the offense.
Right? Well, but I showed 2 Lamar graphics.
But your answer was, I trust Lamar because Baltimore's going to win.
Yeah.
You guys discussed how the Bengals' run defense is bad. I agree with all of that.
But part of Lamar is running.
Yes, agreed. And I think the Ravens' pass defense is equally as susceptible. To me, of the 2 quarterbacks I trust more, it's Joe Burrow, and it's not a question. Joe
overall or against the Ravens? Because he's not. We just saw his numbers. He hasn't been great against the Ravens.
So
again, great when they don't have Lamar.
So right, which is a weird math we're doing, which is when Lamar's not there, Joe Burrow's success against the Ravens defense doesn't count for some reason.
But Nick, you don't think it's about complementary football. You don't think having Lamar Jackson on the offense affects the defense?
No, of course I do. But and you just said, of course it doesn't count. I think if Joe Burrow goes out I think in this game, as a for instance, if Joe Burrow has 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, that is about how Joe Burrow does against the Ravens defense, not about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
and
but the fact that he can only beat the Ravens when Lamar Jackson isn't there
right,
is
but
an
that's
important data point.
Yes, of course it's an important data point about the teams. About the teams. If the question is who do I trust more Sunday, who am I more confident that Sunday is going to play a very well or great? It's Joe Burrow. Because Joe Burrow, since week 1, has been the best quarterback arguably in football, certainly in the AFC. Joe Burrow, if we look at over the course of their careers, post Joe Burrow's rookie year in 2021, Burrow was excellent. Lamar was mediocre and hurt. And when I say it wasn't just that he was hurt, that year he had 18 touchdowns and 15 turnovers. In 2022, Joe Burrow was excellent. Lamar was mediocre and hurt. In 2023, Lamar was excellent. Joe was mediocre and hurt. And this year, in my opinion, both have played great, and both teams are a little underwhelming given their expectations. That's how I look at it. I think that, and I know you throw the MVP, which is legitimate, from last year, but I think you'll agree with me on this, Brew. Like, the year Joe Burrow had in 2022, when he came in 4th in MVP, we can show those numbers compared to Lamar's. He had an equivalent season, at the very least equivalent, to Lamar's MVP year, but as you said, throughout last year was a weird year because nobody had jumped out and had those amazing numbers.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think we have seen them have similar regular season peaks since Joe Burrow's been in the league. I think the highest any of them have ever gotten was Lamar's first year as a starter when Joe was at LSU. And I just think Joe Burrow on a game-to-game basis is a more consistent, better player. I trust him more. And the part of this that to me is the most interesting part of it is it's a 2.5-point line the Ravens are favored. I don't think any of us feel like it's an impossibility for Cincinnati to win this game, right?
Oh, I agree.
So what if Cincinnati wins? How do we square what you, and not just you, a lot of people have been pushing about, here is why Joe Burrow's overrated and Lamar's underrated. If it's been about doesn't win enough, can't beat Lamar, and we all agree the Ravens right now have the more complete football team. If Joe Burrow goes out there on a team that can only win through him passing the football with a bad defense that can't stop the run and wins that game, and the Ravens are all of a sudden 2-3, same with the Bengals we wrote off for dead, what does that do to the narrative that I think a lot of people have been pushing, which is Joe Burrow is falsely elevated and Lamar Jackson is falsely or unfairly maligned, so to speak?
I don't know. There's too many.
It's not a lot of hypotheticals. The Bengals win.
It'll be one regular season.
If the Bengals win, is a different story than if Joe Burrow throws it. So why wouldn't I be able to just flip it on you? Like, well, you know what? The Ravens' pass defense wasn't able to slow down Joe Burrow. Well, if Lamar wins, it's going to be because the Bengals' defense was so good, so poor. But if Joe Burrow wins, it has to be, Joe Burrow.
No, I don't think that at all.
That's what's going to happen on Monday.
Where is this world that Lamar Jackson doesn't get credit? I'm just curious that the reigning MVP of the league doesn't get credit.
You're sitting here trying to say, now Burrow is great, and a lot of people think he's better than Lamar. He's clearly a better passer than Lamar.
Yeah.
But you can't sit here and you just did say they've essentially had the same types of regular season careers. Lamar's got 2 MVPs, 1 unanimous. Joe Burrow's made 1 Pro Bowl.
No, what I said is I think since Joe Burrow's rookie season, which is the last 4 years, they have been equivalent level players. We showed you the numbers yesterday of them over the last 4 years.
Lamar's won an MVP.
Lamar's won an MVP.
And Joe Burrow's made 1 Pro Bowl.
Yeah, Lamar has won an MVP. Joe Burrow has had statistically 2 A-plus regular seasons. Lamar's had 1. In the playoffs, Joe's clearly been better. Their careers, Lamar has been better because he had the head start, and his best year of his career was 2019. But over the last 4 years, I don't think Lamar's been better than Joe Burrow. And I also don't think there is this. It seems like you're saying the narrative around the Ravens is everyone gets credit but Lamar.
I'm not saying that. I was trying to answer your question that threw me into a pretzel. I got lost on it. But I'm saying if Joe Burrow wins, we'll give him credit. If Joe Burrow plays awesome and wins,
I don't think
that'd
it'll
be great.
I don't think it'll be this grand statement on their careers. If the Ravens lose, they lose. If the Bengals win, they win. But like you were saying, the Ravens definitively have a better team. I think so, but I don't know that that's definitive to most people because the Bengals don't have a good defense. You're not sure the Ravens have a good defense.
No, I think the Bengals have a terrible defense.
Okay,
but you're
you're not certain on the Ravens defense. And the
right.
Bengals clearly have the better receivers. It's not even close. And the Ravens have the better run game. And quarterbacks are both great quarterbacks. Like, I don't think it would be, if you were trying to put it this way, Burrow leading a wildly inferior team
it's not wildly
to
inferior.
victory over
It's that
Lamar.
I think the Bengals have one way to win this game. And it's the way, what we have seen from them this year, Joe Burrow has to be exceptional, and the passing game has to be exceptional because the defense is downright awful. You're right. I think the Ravens' defense is not what it was last year. But I don't think it's an awful defense. The Bengals' defense up to this point in the year has been awful, and they don't have a running game, and to me, the offensive lines are equivalent. It has to be done through Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow only. It seems like even the biggest Ravens supporters want it to be a Derrick Henry-led attack. And so that's when it's just what it is.
Here's what's going to happen on Monday. This is what I think is going to happen, and it will be the fuel for the argument. Lamar will have maybe 100-something yards through the air, 80-something yards on the ground. They hand the ball off a ton. They score first. They get the lead. They drain the clock. Joe Burrow will have still do well, but the Ravens will keep scoring. And at the end of the game, all of Joe Burrow's numbers will look better than all of Lamar's numbers, and Joe Burrow will be 1-4, and Lamar will be 3-2. That's what I think is going to happen. And then we can make the argument, hey, not Joe Burrow's fault. Joe Burrow's playing great. Lamar wins. That's what I think is going to happen. And you can say that maybe Lamar didn't do enough. Lamar plays winning football, and that's why he's won more games than Joe Burrow this year. Joe Burrow barely just beat the Carolina Panthers. Okay, I don't think these teams are on equal standing.
Okay. All right, I agree with you halfway, which is if it's a game like the Washington game where the Bengals score every time they get the ball, you're right. I don't think people will be like, Joe Burrow didn't do enough. But I also think that these teams, the reason I mentioned what I said before that seemed, maybe I phrased it poorly, these teams have been looked at as, and the narrative was, Joe Burrow is living off that one win against Patrick Mahomes. Meanwhile, Lamar is wildly disrespected for what he has done and continues to do, and we are a field goal spread away from through 5 weeks of this season where Joe Burrow's team was left for dead by many, and we're talking about Lamar. They've got the most dominant rushing attack in modern NFL, that actually the Bengals are better than the Ravens. And that, to me, will be about what Joe Burrow is able to do.
So if the Bengals win this game, that means they're better than the Ravens?
I thought the Bengals were better than the Ravens from before the year, right now moving forward, because of what I believe Joe Burrow can do. Because of what I believe that passing attack can do. I think they're going to win this weekend. I think they are the better team.
6-8 in his last year and a half of starts.
Yes.
6-8.
Yeah.
So.
He was bad last year. He was more mediocre and hurt last year. That's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
I think he's going to get crushed.
Okay.
I said 2 touchdowns.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.